I thought I was irrelevant now. I thought all Republicans were irrelevant. Why all this vitriol aimed at me? This has nothing to do, by the way. Well, some of it has to do with Obama mentioning my name, because it just makes them mad. Just makes them mad. They wish that I would just vanish.
What a performer. Welcome back to Hardball. Is Rush Limbaugh running the Republican Party? Is President Obama trying to pick a fight with him? With us now, MSNBC political analyst Pat Buchanan and Las Vegas radio talk show host Heidi Harris. Patrick, you and I are historians of the last 50 years. I recall when LBJ took a shot at Richard Nixon, your guy, back in '66, and by going after him as a chronic campaigner, he made him into the leader of the Republican Party. Is this what he's doing to Rush Limbaugh? Why is Barack Obama going after a radio guy, even as big as Rush?
And look, and Rush is enjoying it as much as Nixon did. It elevated Nixon to the leader and voice of the Republican Party in 1966, as you said, Chris. Moved him into the lead for the Republican nomination. I don't know why Obama is doing this. I think it was more of a slip because it elevates Rush, puts him on a level with the President of the United States. Talk radio, Chris, you know, it's an us or them media. These guys are not détentistes. They love a fight. Can you imagine how you would have reacted, Chris, if you heard in the cabinet room Bush and Cheney said, "You Democrats have got to stop listening to Chris Matthews. You got to stop listening to him."
I have lusted in my heart for such a day. Heidi, I hate to use that language, but the fact is, who wouldn't want the president of the country to pick them out as the most bothersome voice? It's fabulous. It's P.T. Barnum stuff.
Just get the call letters right and spell my name correctly. Thank you very much. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I have no idea why Barack Obama is doing this, and I agree with Pat. He's elevating him. Now, you know, Rush Limbaugh is obviously the king of talk radio. We know that. But Barack Obama is the leader of the free world. And the idea that he's even giving Rush all that attention, big mistake on Barack Obama's part. And it's certainly not going to hurt Rush one little bit.
Well, here's let's hear some Rush. Let's listen to some more Rush because he's in his heyday right now. This guy is storming with now. Here he is now going back against the president, Rush Limbaugh.
If this stimulus is such a great plan, then why not take sole authorship of it as the Democrat Party so that when it works, you can then really finish off the Republicans. And when it works, you can say, and this prosperity was brought to you by Obama and the stimulus package, and not one Republican helped out. Not one Republican thought it would be. That would be the end of the Republican Party as we know it. So why doesn't he do it if he's so confident it's going to work? Because he's not confident it's going to work in the way you hope it works. It's going to work for what he has in mind, but it ain't going to work in the ways you hope. It's going to work in building and strengthening the Democrat Party for as long as we live.
I love it, Pat, the way, and Heidi, the way he goes from that tirade to that voice of sober authority. He does that amazing acting stunt there. Look, let's get back to the facts here. Does he have something here by saying that Barack Obama is trying to get the Republicans to join, or at least a handful of them, so that he can share the blame if it doesn't work? Is that a reasonable claim?
It is, Chris. Look, go back to '94. Remember Clinton didn't get a single Republican vote for his tax increases? He lost both houses of the United States Congress and the lower house for the first time in 40 years. All his guys were on board. All the Republicans were against it. Rush is emerging as of now, because there's a huge vacuum here, as the de facto leader of the loyal opposition on the stimulus package. It is working in every possible way for him, and one reason it is, Chris, is because Boehner and McConnell and those fellas do not look like they're leading. They're figuring out what they're going to do. Some Republican is going to move into this vacuum and be the strong voice of populist conservatism on Capitol Hill, and that guy's going to have a good inside track to the nomination.
Is that what you hear, Heidi, out west?
You know what, I got to tell you, Chris, I agree with Pat. I've had members of the Nevada Republican Party approach me about running against Harry Reid. That's how thin the bench is, okay, when it comes to Republicans. We need some leadership. We need some good candidates. And if the Republicans go along with this bailout, they're done. This is the only thing that will save them in 2010, is to not go along with this and let this thing fail. I was against the last bailout, the one over the summer. It shouldn't happen. And the Republicans, I can't believe they're getting sucked into this. It's sickening to watch. It's their own fault. We need some kind of leadership in the Republican Party, and I don't know where it's going to come from at this point.
Could it be, Pat and Heidi, that Rush Limbaugh doesn't have to worry about re-election? He's very popular. He's very ensconced. So he can take shots at the Democrats for trying to put together a bill which he says is politically driven to get the poorest people who don't pay income taxes to get money back from the government they never really paid in an income tax. They paid it in payroll tax. In other words, it's a self-funding Democratic re-election campaign machine. And he's calling it for what he thinks it is, but no Republican elected official can be so raw is to call it that. Is that what's going on?
But you can be this raw, Chris. Look, what Obama is doing, when you spend $900 billion, 6% of the gross national product coming out of the Congress of the United States, nobody can tell me they're not thinking, maybe we ought to move it in this direction. This will help us politically. I think Obama believes it will work economically. I think he believes it'll get the country back to work. He also believes it will solidify the Democratic Party the way FDR did in the 1930s. Whatever it did economically, FDR won 3 straight elections. There are about 16 Republicans in the Senate by the time you got to 1937.
Well, maybe elections matter, Pat and Heidi, and the people who voted for Barack are getting a break. Wouldn't that be something? I've watched Republicans give themselves a break when they win elections. Excuse me, Pat, but the wealthiest people in this country got a hell of a break back in 2001 because they won the election.
Are you telling me the Democrats are sitting up there on the Hill and they're saying, look, we don't want that earmark stuff. Let's do something that is simply good economically. Of course they're thinking politically.
Yeah, well, elections matter.
I want my earmarks. I want my earmarks. They want,
thank you.
No, wait a minute. They want to spend $800 billion. Where's my mob museum? I just want a mob museum. That's all I'm asking for.
Well, Blagojevich ain't no stranger. Thank you very much. Pat Buchanan and Heidi Harris.
He's got a lot of friends up here.
No, I think he's got a lot of familiar types. Anyway, up next.